Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, I'm not quite where I was where we left off this morning. Had to get gas for the car. Yeah, it's gonna work so well. I rather hate getting out of this particular lot because it happens to be just around a corner from an intersection that people love to fly through, so you can't see them, but it's a very bad place. And unfortunately, yeah, well, good for you. I just went around the side because I couldn't get out of the way. That's always great. Not very legal. Completely distracting me, though. Bad part about doing this right now, besides a really good look at all the people in all the cars as they stop at the light and block my way out. I'd go the other way, but I'd have to circle back around anyways, and then I'd be stuck again in this. I can't go anywhere. I'm going that way. Yeah, I can't move forward. Stupid. You may have sort of missed it, but yeah, the person wanted to come in this side, and I just cannot get far enough over because I was coming from the middle one and not the end one. So there's actually room on the other side of me, more so than this side. But I can't go anywhere because there's constantly cars. And there's actually another car at the other end of this that also wants to go the same way I'm going. But I have cars blocking me and they don't. And frankly, I'm going now. Red car be damned. Alright. Well, now that I've done that, as for what I was actually going to talk about, there's some tech news for today, though most of it is all gaming related. The big news for this morning, at least, was the creators of Minecraft, a company called Mojang, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, who sold their company and the property rights to Minecraft to Microsoft this morning for $2.5 billion. Kind of a high amount, but Minecraft has already sold some 50 million plus copies and is the third most popular game ever in actual numbers of units sold. And more than that, there's a lot of commercialization with plushies and bags and all sorts of goods that are actually related to Minecraft. Your creeper lunchboxes and your plushie figurines. Well, they're not really figurines, but you know what I mean. So it's quite possible that Microsoft will get back their money. Probably not within a couple of years, but quite possibly given 5 years or so, they could actually make back that much. Right now, Mojang seems to earn about $100 million a year, and for a company that is only 4 or 5 years old, that is actually a pretty staggering number. Most companies don't ever do that well. Of course, the the lead developer, Notch, as he's mostly known, and I'm not sure I can pronounce his actual name. I've never been good at the particular pronunciation that it has, but Notch will do. That's how most people know him anyways. Has decided to leave the company, as well as 3 of the other developers. Lots of stuff going on back and forth on the issue. A lot of people might not care if you've never played Minecraft, or if you somehow managed to not know anyone who has, then it might not affect you. A lot of the YouTube community, as far as the game end of it, really got started with Minecraft. Not all of it, but there's quite a lot of it that certainly picked up because of it. I remember some of the early gaming videos on Minecraft. They tended, yes, I'm just so good right after work. Some of the early videos on YouTube were about Minecraft. Things like showing off the scale model of the Enterprise on YouTube. I think it's had over 1 million views since it was uploaded. In fact, I think it's been uploaded a couple of different times now, and it always seems to get a lot of views. So, quite some legs there, and the creativity is really what's propelled Minecraft. They've talked about having a convention before, and with Microsoft behind them, it is quite likely to happen. I'm personally expecting some big changes on the back end of things with Minecraft when Microsoft really takes control. A lot of people have been arguing that even though apparently they've promised Mojang that they won't get rid of versions of Minecraft for platforms that Microsoft does not control. There's been a lot of talk that that will only last for a short period of time, and then they'll promptly want to get it to only their platforms. I don't know how valid that is. You can never really tell with Microsoft, especially since they've gone through several different CEOs. This is the 3rd one in recent memory. Bill Gates was the first, followed by Steve Ballmer, and I can't actually remember the 3rd one's name yet. He hasn't really been in a big spotlight the way that, Bill and Steve were before him. He did cut a lot of jobs, though, from Microsoft when he took over. So, we'll see how that goes. The other big, and I forgot what that is. There was another big piece of gaming news today, and I forgot completely about it. This is the early days, and right now I'm still hoping that the camera will actually stay affixed to the window this time, which would be nice on my drive home, rather than falling off like it did several times this morning. So, my preparation is not what it could be. We'll see exactly how well it goes. I do want to make it a little more professional, even though the hours are probably not the best choice. And I don't have like a PC or something that I can look at and just call stuff up, since I don't have access to that in my car. I do recall some other tidbits today, like the Supreme Court getting rid of yet some more what they call on a PC type of patent. The way these type of on a PC patent works, and the same goes for on a phone or all sorts of other things, is that something that is common behavior elsewhere, like, say, making a call on a PC, like what Skype does. Making a telephone call on a PC can, in fact, be patentable to some degree. Not one of the target areas, but there's been other ones. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I can't even actually think of the ones that were just invalidated today. But the Supreme Court is finally getting behind getting rid of some of these patents that are existing things, but just on a PC, on the web, on the internet, on a mobile device. But they're the same thing that we've been doing for ages, usually, already before that. How this affects the general person is that these things have been holding up a lot of technologies. And I wish this dump truck would go a little bit faster. We've been going down this hill at like 25 miles an hour. But a lot of technologies that aren't really innovative, but people have wanted to do them on like a mobile device or a PC, have been targeted by companies which hold these, on a whatever patent, and when a company comes out with something that uses these, the company promptly sues whatever big name it usually is that has this. A lot of big companies have been sort of held hostage by these things. Google is a prime target quite often. Microsoft has been targeted. Apple certainly has. Lots of big companies, lots of small companies too. And the small companies usually can't fight these. It's just rather insane how much money it costs to actually fight a court case over something like this. It can easily take 5 to 10 years, and you have to pay for, all the court time to actually get around to invalidating this type of patent. Which is why there's even only 11 cases so far to reach the Supreme Court. Usually they have to have targeted someone with a lot of money like Google or Microsoft or Apple before it actually gets anywhere. If these companies could stop suing people over this stuff, we'd have a lot more simple, basic things on our everyday devices that we use. I see that as a good thing. It's also been a burden to a lot of startups. You want to offer, like Skype did, basic phone calling over the internet. But there are so many barriers in place, especially with companies that sue for things like this. And ironically, the example I keep using is the only one that I can't recall a court case being fought over. There may have been, but I don't remember one off the top of my head. It's just I can't recall any of the actual court cases that have been invalidated so far. I am not really a fan of a lot of these broad patents anyways. Patents that are this idea except on X device are horribly bad usually. Let's see, what else was there today? happens after an 8-hour workday. I've been running around taking care of things, and now that I finally have a chance to go through some of the things for the day, I don't remember what all they were. I will improve on this, and in fact, I'll probably keep a short list of topics that I wanted to cover, and I will remember as soon as I go back into my house. That is usually the way it works. I will sit back down at my PC, and suddenly I will remember all sorts of things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't remember them at the time. On a note, for what I plan to do on the channel, I have been planning, and that looks great. Yes, you can almost see a big truck riding on the pedestrian throughway here. Yeah, that's wonderful. They did not make that roundabout big enough. As I was going to say, though, I do plan to do some other related stuff. I happen to be something of a gamer, and I want to start streaming stuff to Twitch. Unfortunately for me, as you can see if you've ever looked at the test footage I put up from a while ago when I was playing around with Fraps, my almost 4-year-old PC does not quite cut it when I want to do video capture right now. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to upgrade it the way I'd like. When I did put it together myself 4 years ago, it had some of the latest parts you could possibly get. In fact, the Radeon HD 6970 card that's in it was just released literally the week I put my system together. It was pure chance, and I actually almost didn't have the money to get it back then, but I decided to spend the extra and go for the most advanced, or at least most recent graphics card that I could get at the time. However, just not quite what it could be today. So, not doing the streaming yet because I'm worried that it's going to bog down my system. That, and except for this camera right here, I actually do not have a microphone for my PC. So the commentary I'd like to make to go with it when I stream to Twitch is kind of hard to do. I'm going to see about bringing this guy inside. I'll have to figure out some way to mount it, kind of like as a webcam. It does actually function that way. I tested that out, though I didn't upload anything from that test. I'll see how that goes. Hopefully that will do okay. Need to test it though. Then I'll give you guys Twitch name so that anyone who's interested can follow whatever I'm doing on there. I like a lot of RPGs, strategy games, some Civilization, some and the big truck is slowing down. We're only doing 40 miles an hour in a zone that's 55 anyways, so not hugely fast to begin with, but yeah, some Civilization, some XCOM. In fact, I want to install a new mod for XCOM that makes for a much, much longer game. can't actually record the videos onto my hard drive at the moment, just because it seems to take up too much resources on my current configuration. So it's going to be limited to Twitch only for right now. I want to start putting some of those on YouTube as well if I can. We'll see exactly how well that goes after I have a chance to try it. Some other games. It has to be a PC game at the moment, mostly because I don't have any way of recording from anything else. I do have an old, well, now considered old, Xbox 360. I don't have my live subscription anymore, mostly because I had some issues with Microsoft trying to charge my account on an old card when I got a new card from my bank. They didn't ever seem to want to change it, or at least when I would go in to change it, they would invalidate my changes and it would switch back, and then they couldn't charge me, and then they would add fees on. It became a huge hassle for more than a year, and it's why I don't even really touch my Xbox 360 anymore. Since I don't have a way of capturing content from that anyways, I'm not really worried. I would like to go back and play some of those if people would like a nice little let's play of that sort of stuff. You guys will have to let me know. There is actually a passing zone up here, which I would really love to get around this guy so you're not staring at the back end of a semi for the rest of the way home, which I'm not that far off anyways, but this is ironically the only time he's gotten past 45 miles an hour. In fact, he's doing the speed, well, slightly less than the speed limit right now. And with cars coming the other way, I can't actually pass them. I'd really like to, though. Really like to. I understand the point of having semis on the road, but I don't like the fact that they block my view of whatever is ahead of them. You don't really get that with most other vehicles. I mean, other cars, you can pretty much see around another car, and you can see, you know, what's coming much, much better, or what might be in front of them. You don't have that with a semi, because it's just too big generally. And I don't have the time for it, but I'm sure sometime I will start ranting about how I wish we had more rail in this country. And a lot of the duties that currently go to trucks could instead go to rail, and you could have much smaller trucks in that case that would work from the rail stations to wherever they need to drop the stuff off. So that would drastically change things, and we wouldn't need nearly as many long-haul truckers. We would need a lot more people that run trains, though, and work on trains. Probably a good trade-off in the long run. In fact, that reminds me that I did some research for my parents. There is a rail line that happens to connect through a city about 30 miles from where we are right now. In fact, at the roundabout, you are about halfway to getting to that particular city. If I had gone the other way instead, that's where we would end up. Opposite direction from where I live, but it is where that is. And I found out that the rail routes, because they wanted to go well, I guess I'll have to say it for you guys, but they wanted to go down to Pittsburgh, and we live in Pennsylvania already. And he's pulling off. Maybe he got tired of the whole line of people. You can't see it, but there's about a half a mile worth of cars behind us. Which is not really surprising. This is the end of the workday for that city I just mentioned. So all the traffic is coming back through here. There aren't really a lot of people that work outside of the big city. It's one of the top 100 in the U.S. It's near the bottom of that list, but it is still actually in the top 100. But yeah, there's a rail line in that city, which I won't name, but I'm sure someone will figure out. There are plenty of road signs after all. I'm sure someone will see those road signs and figure out exactly where it is I am. But I'll let that be something for you all to find out. And they're going through the yellow, so I can't turn until it already changes to red. I love that intersection. No one wants to get stuck. No one wants to get stuck at that light, so everyone from the other direction runs that light. Which of course means that I have to clear out after it's already changed to red, and the people are already green light the other directions. It never works well. But back to the rail. I checked into a rail line going south, but they don't go south, at least not for passengers. The only rail lines leaving that city would take you from Cleveland to New York City. It actually runs all the way across and then down to New York. From New York City, you could then get a west-east line or east-west line, depending on how you want to look at that. And that train would then take you over to Pittsburgh. But it would be a 11-hour trip to go what would be 3 hours in a car. So, not really what anyone sane wants to do, especially when just one portion of that trip costs $200 and some odd. At least the way my parents would want to do it if they were going to have to travel for 11 hours on a train. And we are home. At least for me. Alright, well that is all for today. So I'm signing off. See you later.